Hello, is anybody out there? I did not tell anybody that I was going live, but I'm here and I want to just say I'm back. I took a little hiatus from posting in this Facebook group for a little bit because I was working on a personal project called 6 Feet Apart. And it's just really hard to kind of maintain being in tons and tons of groups, and I'm sure you guys feel that same way as being members and having tons of groups. So I wanted to let you guys know that I am back in the studio. We are softly opening, meaning that our staff is we're slowly rotating into the studio and producing some things similar to this. So as you notice, this is a very nice live video here. And today I am going to talk to you guys a little bit about DSLRs. Now, those of you in here, I know you have been waiting and waiting and waiting, which is why I have decided to go ahead. Let me just make sure before I recordings. Okay, good. I just want to make sure this is recording because I want to be able to upload this to YouTube as well to keep it archived. So, okay, good. Anyways, so what I wanted to do is I want to make sure that you guys are getting the education that you're looking for. And so with the DSLR, it's a lot to unpack, and I want to make it as concise as possible. And so what I've decided to do is I have decided to build my online class for DSLRs with you. And the perk of you being in this group or a subscriber to my YouTube channel is that you, my love, are going to, or my friend, are going to get to have the class for free. Now, the caveat in that, say hello to me, I don't know who's here, say hello. The caveat to that is that it's going to be a slower process, meaning we are literally breaking things down chunk by chunk every week. So you're not going to be able to get all of the information at once. But the perk of that is that you're going to, like I said, you're going to be able to get it complimentary here, okay? So today, I want to talk to you about what do you need to have before you get started with the DSLR. And basically what you need to have is you need to have a DSLR camera. So if you don't have one of these, you can find, they're all over on Facebook Marketplace right now. So you can, I would highly recommend, instead of buying it brand new, save yourself some time and go ahead and get one used. Now, a lot of times people ask me, should I get Nikon or Canon? Can you guys hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up because I feel absolutely silly if you don't. Anyways, Nikon or Canon or Sony, and I just want to tell you that it depends on what you're looking for in it. So if you're somebody who really enjoys taking photos and videos, I would say go with a Canon, because a Canon has autofocus tracking. So as I'm moving here, it's focusing on my face and finding that. With my Nikon, it doesn't do that. So if you are somebody who wants to have versatility, go with the Canon. That's my personal opinion. Otherwise, if you don't really care so much about the video, I do feel, I really do like the way that Nikon is with the skin. I don't like my photos to be too contrasty or too colorful, especially when I'm dealing with portraits of people, simply because redness is not something that I love cleaning up in skin. So anyhow, let's talk about other things that you'll need. So when you're looking for a camera body online, you want to ask an important question, or you want to look up the model. For example, this is a Nikon D610, and you'll find that little model number right about here. And I think it's going to be a little bit hard for you to see. There we go. Right here is the model number. Usually it's right on the outside of the camera. And what you can do is you can actually go on to Google and you can type in the name of the camera and the model, and you can say in the search description how many shutter clicks for the camera is like the maximum. And the reason why you want to know that, it's because it's kind of like mileage on a car. So cameras are designed at a certain point where they test how many times you can click the shutter button down. So how many times you hear it make this sound. Okay, that tells you how, it kind of gives you an average of when that when it reaches a certain amount of shutters, it will kind of die out or break down. So that's the kind of thing with like a car. You kind of want to know how many miles are on it before you purchase it. And so that way you can ask somebody to tell you that information. And if they don't know how, again, manuals for all of these cameras are available just by a simple search. So you can actually read the instructions on how to get inside of the camera and figure out how many clicks are taken on the camera, to kind of know where you're at if you're getting a good deal. Okay, so that's number one. And then there are two parts to a DSLR. So the first part is called the body, which is this part, and then there is also the lens, which is this part. Now, after I get done talking about this, I'm going to actually just talk to you briefly about shutter speed, and then I'm going to quit. And then next week, we're going to talk about aperture. But I will let you know that the lens, when it comes to photography with a DSLR, the lens to me is way more important than the body. And the reason for that is because the lens is what decides how crisp a photo is going to be, and it also decides how much blur you're going to get in your background depending on the focal length, or what focal length is where it says like 35 millimeter or 50 millimeter around the edge of the lens. So it will determine that for you. Now, I personally love prime lenses because they are sharper and they usually give you more of the advancements of having a blurrier background, okay? So you can definitely find, you know, a prime lens, and how you know it's a prime lens is that it doesn't zoom. So you can't zoom it in and you can't zoom it out. You are the zoom, so you have to move your body for it, okay? So check out Facebook Marketplace. Go ahead and get your camera if you don't have one. Get your lens if you don't have one. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need to make sure you have some SD cards to go into your camera to actually record the photos that you're going to be taking. And then what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have a laptop or a computer that you can plug these into. Now, they do make adapters, I know, for iPhones. I'm pretty sure they probably do for Android too, where you can actually plug the SD card into the adapter, and then the adapter can plug into your phone, and then you can upload stuff into your phone or into an iPad or a tablet, and you can you can edit and offload. You just really want to make sure you can offload your SD card so it doesn't get too full, okay? So let's go ahead right now and talk about shutter speed. So shutter speed is how fast your camera blinks, okay? It's how fast your camera is blinking. So what that means is inside of your camera, there's a shutter that opens and closes, just like an eyeball. The camera is very similar to your eye. So the faster that eyeball clicks, or that shutter opens and closes, is going to determine how quickly you're going to be able to capture something in motion. And it's also going to tell you how much light is going to be able to be let in to your camera. So these three things that I'm going to talk about these next 3 weeks, shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, these are the three things that you need to understand in order to get yourself out of auto mode. But I'm going to talk you through these things. I'm going to talk you through auto mode. What is it? I'm going to talk you through aperture priority mode, or sometimes it's like the A, okay? I'm also going to talk to you about shutter priority mode and everything, all of the different modes on your camera. I'm going to explain what they are to you, within hopes that, you know, you can start utilizing them as I talk you through them. And then the end game is to get you into manual mode, where you, my friend, are the full control. Okay? So just to give you an idea again, so shutter speed, think about your eyeballs. The longer your eyeballs blink, like 300 like so fast, 300 milliseconds, and your eyes blink. You don't even realize you're blinking. So that's how fast your eyelids shutter, okay? That they get open and closed. So with a camera like this one, I've just put the shutter speed on super, super slow. And I mean so slow. And when you go slower, it allows for your eyeball to be open longer, and then blink, and then open, okay? So what happens is it allows all of this light to come in. Now, the one caveat to that is that if your shutter speed is too low, you might get, your hands actually shake. when you're holding it. So a lot of times you'll need to either have a tripod. So people who take like nighttime photography of the stars, they have super low shutter speeds. So they actually have to not only put their camera on a tripod, they also have to put their camera on a tripod and not touch it and use a remote to be able to get the shutter to go without having any shake. So they get crisp and clear photos and there's no shake to their photos at all and there's no blur, okay? So that is the power of shutter speed. Now, the opposite of that is that let's say you're a sports photographer, you might want to have your shutter speed super fast. So clicking super fast so that way you can actually capture like a hummingbird in motion. So the shutter speed in your camera when you're looking at it, you can see it usually because it has a number somewhere inside of the little meter inside of here where it says, like it'll say 1, 1.6, 8, 10, 20, and these are fractions. So 1/200th of a second. Okay, so it might show up as fractions. So if it shows up as fractions, that's your shutter speed. So the lower the fraction number, meaning, and when I say lower, I mean like if it's 1/50th, not like 1/200th. I know that 1/200th is actually smaller. But what I'm trying to say is just number speaking wise. The shutter speed, the faster it goes, or the higher you see the bottom numbers, so 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, anything like that is it's going faster. It's going to blink faster, okay? So it's kind of confusing because the increase in the number is also the increase in speed, but the problem is that fractions, when you go to 1/200th of a second or 1/500th of a second, etc., it's confusing because you're like, well, it's not getting bigger. No, it's just getting faster. So it's kind of like chipping away at the second that it can blink. So I want to show you guys, or I want you to hear the difference between, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, of a super slow shutter speed, so 1 second actually, or here we go. So here's the lowest, one of the lower settings here. It's still capturing right now. The shutter is still open. This is literally how slow it is. It's taking in all of the light right now. I mean, I could set this sucker down. See that? That's what they use for nighttime photography. Now, for sports photography, you can go super duper fast. And that's more like this. A lot faster, right? Super fast. Really fast, okay? So that is what shutter speed is, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So next week, I may do a live. I may just do like a sketch or a drawing just to be able to showcase, because next week I'm going to be talking all about f-stops, okay, or aperture. And then the week after that, I'm going to talk about ISO. And then the week after that, I'm going to talk to you about auto mode. So the whole goal is to be able to kind of keep these videos short and sweet and keep them free so that way you guys can learn how to use that. So your homework right now is, if you don't have a DSLR, get yourself one before next week. And then your your homework is to just go ahead and turn your camera on, and you don't have to, you can put it in manual mode if you want to, or you can put it where it says S or shutter, and you can go ahead and play around with the shutter speed. And if you don't know how to manipulate your shutter speed, like how to change your shutter speed yourself, you can actually go, like I said, go ahead and pull out the manual. And if you don't have the manual, go to Google, type in that model number, type in all that stuff, because I don't have a way of knowing. Everybody's settings are completely different on their cameras. So that's why it's really important for you to do that research and figure out with your camera specifically, how do you manipulate your settings to be able to know which knobs do you press and turn to change your shutter speed, okay? So make sure that's your homework, okay? And then practice. Just go ahead and like turn it down all the way and see what happens. Then turn it up really fast and see what happens. And then let me know in the comments below of this video if you've done that. So again, and if you already have a camera, go ahead and dust it off. You don't have to have a prime lens. You can have any lens that you already have, the kit lens that it comes with. That's okay too. But I just want you to know that that is the homework. Playing around with your shutter speed, looking or getting a camera if you don't already have one, or dusting off the one that you already have. Next week, we're going to be talking about aperture, and we'll see you guys then. Thanks so much. Oh, you know what? Before I finish this, I do want to comment with a couple of things. Sorry. I'm trying to find out how I can comment on here. Oh, I can only show you comments. Well, I'll go ahead and post it below. But again, these videos that I'm recording right now, I'm recording them at the same time, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and post my YouTube channel so you can subscribe to that. And then you can actually click the little bell so it'll send you a notification every time that it's uploaded. And just so you can go back and keep looking at the classes, etc. that I'm doing each week. And then I'm also going to show you my little email sign up form, which is different than the Mary Boyer Photos one because this is specific to photography classes or to people who want to take photography stuff. So if you already subscribed to MBP, this is a different email list, so you're going to get completely different content. So I want you to sign up for that, and because also I'll be sharing tips and tricks via email as well. And then the last thing is that if you haven't taken my smartphone photography class, it's a super cheap class. It's $30. It'd be a great gift to give to mom this year or to yourself. And that talks more about lighting, natural lighting, using your smartphone. But if you take that class, you'll understand lighting and you can apply it as you're working with your DSLR. So it's a great class to take. It's 1 hour in length, and I show you all about lighting and some composition. And so if you are ready for to kind of dig into your DSLR, that would be a great class to take in the meantime as you're learning along with me creating this course. So hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much. And now I'll finish it out.